Good day and welcome to season 2 of The Global Guys. Today our guest is Pete Vanspall, who's a networking expert. But before we introduce Pete, let's talk about some changes to you, Tom. Talk us through this new look.
Yes, Mark, great to be back, season 2. Great to be alongside you, and Peter, welcome as well. Yes, I thought, well, the hair was getting a bit wild. I was actually quoted by someone to say that I looked a little bit like a street urchin, should I say. So yeah, new haircut, shaved beards, new look, season 2. Can't get any better, can we, with the Global Guys?
Perfect. Anyway, Pete, tell us about yourself and what you do.
Okay, cool. So yeah, my name's Pete Vanspall, and I think primarily with networking, I volunteer. I'm on the board of a non-profit networking organisation called BITAx, and it's specifically geared around sort of development and support of young professionals, and very much in the last couple of years, very much building a community around that space. Professionally, I actually work for Investec Bank. I work in the team that works with corporates, helping them manage their risk and financial risk across a whole range of different companies. And I think where that comes into networking particularly relevant is because I have the ability, and professionally I work with such a wide range of companies, being able to dip into different sectors in my network, different companies, and really get an understanding for what's moving, what's happening, what are the challenges involved in those areas. Added benefit professionally from that area as well.
Good. Thanks for that, Pete. And so with the networking side of things, all three of us on here, we are avid networkers, from various events and everything, and webinars and everything. But what have you found that you were doing previously, previously to this year, and maybe even previously to Investec, but with Bitter, for instance, what have you found that you've got yourself involved in?
I think there's, over the last 10 years, I think there's been a real change in how I approach networking and probably how the landscape has evolved. In my early 20s, I was working at an investment company, and I used to turn up to a lot of different events, investment seminars, companies that were selling shares. And I would turn up to these and I'd meet all these investors, and I had a very sharp focus that was, I was there to get sales. I was there to turn around to look at people that were my target customers, to meet them. And I did very well. I was very successful in that side of things. And I think, probably that definitely piqued my interest. Several years later, when I left that industry and started working with companies, I think it started to change. It became less about trying to meet people in the room that could become customers of mine, and really actually, understand, the people in the room, their businesses, what I could learn from them, what that could teach me for, some professional steer. And that's, it took me probably a while to get that. There's so much, when you talk about networking, whether it's digital or face-to-face, there's so much out there. There's so much rubbish that I've been to. I've been on Eventbrite, I've gone to the free hotel ones, and there's two guys in a corner of the room chatting, and you think this is an absolute waste of my time. I've seen people walking around at some events with brochures of their products and physical suitcases of samples, physically trying to sell what they are in the room. And I think it probably took an observation of that, thinking, actually, if you spend your time with the right people in the right groups, it's not about passing business cards around. It's about, finding like-minded individuals and people you can learn from, and using that for your own professional development, and not necessarily just trying to find a new opportunity, to add to your sales pipeline.
Yeah, really interesting. I hadn't. Obviously, my focus has maybe in the past been in the wrong area. I hadn't thought so much about the sort of, self-development as a professional from learning off different people. Obviously, I've always been quite a keen watcher of people to try and learn that way, but hadn't thought of networking in quite that way before. So that's really interesting.
I think how things look today online and the way that things have changed and all this content, like what we're doing at the moment, taking that out of a face-to-face, it's so easy now to just be connecting with people, on LinkedIn, having that quick chat, working out what's going on in this industry, what's happening. And I think that's really ramped up. Definitely I found, since we've been in, a post-COVID world.
Yeah, which was going to sort of lead into my next question anyway. Like, we don't want to spend too much time talking about COVID because everyone's a bit bored of it now. But what sort of successful methods of networking have you seen and found during this period? Because obviously the face-to-faces have been shut down. What have you seen change since then?
I think I started at the beginning of the year trying to set myself a target of trying to meet one person outside of my network for a coffee. So I'd probably met at a similar thing, at a sales event, at an industry event, at a finance event. And what's happened is I've come into COVID, we've got all this digital connections. You can see people that are posting on LinkedIn. You can see people that are at webinars. But actually, I can sit down with one person a week now for a virtual coffee. You set up a Zoom with someone, there's maybe in a different industry or selling into a similar industry or trying to understand something. And for me, it's been great, speaking to other people that work in sales, other people that work in finance, much more senior people that I probably wouldn't otherwise be connecting with. I think it can start digitally, and if you see someone that's got good content online, message them, let them know it's good, And
do you think that's changed? Do you think before you could start a relationship online and then go for a coffee with them? It sounds like maybe that's still similar?
I think it was definitely less usual. I remember years ago that I had someone engage with something I put on LinkedIn, and I picked up the phone and called the guy, and he went, "No one ever calls you from LinkedIn. You're just a LinkedIn." It was really like, the guy was really surprised by it. But, I'm still in contact with that chap today, and I think it's probably having conversation, speaking over the phone. I bet, we did meet. I think it's more likely to start now like that. And it's probably more accepted that, it's just swifts from, commenting on the same post or engaging in the same sort of activity or being on the same webinar at the same time, to actually having some direct contact and then jumping on a Zoom and having a chat.
Yeah, because I imagine, sorry, Tom.
That's right.
I was just thinking about your last comment then on the webinar thing. I've been on quite a few webinars and stuff, and it is difficult to meet someone on a webinar. Like if we were both at the same seminar and we were next to each other, I went and got a coffee, you went and got a coffee, then there'd be a connection. But I suppose when you are on a webinar and you're listening to a presenter or whatever, it's quite hard to network with the audience without doing some form of digital outreach.
That's basically stopped. There are a couple of platforms out there I've looked at where they try to make these like networking rooms and virtual rooms, but yeah, it is a lot harder. I probably find that actually with a lot of the times now, I'm reaching out directly to the speakers and the presenters, much more senior authorities and what they're talking about, and they're really happy. You give them some honest feedback about what you thought was valuable, and then actually I'm now connecting and having these conversations with the senior, the authorities, the speakers on the issues. On that side of things as well. But everything seems to be, there's always a bit of engagement before an event, on a LinkedIn post, on this post. There's always a bit of engagement after an event. I run a series of webinars myself with BITAx, and I see that, and you see people sort of, they've connected on the back of that. They've had that comment and feedback together. So it's tougher. You're right. You're not in the hotel bar after a conference. You're not sitting next to someone and just going, "Oh, what do you do?" But I think the benefits are greater and people are a lot more receptive at the moment. I think we're all just wanting a bit more of a bit of human element, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I was going to come on to that with regards to the BITAx side of things. You have been, I've seen obviously on your LinkedIn, obviously the webinars that you have been putting together. How have you seen, as much as obviously you're putting them together, but are you then having to do a little bit more work like aftercare in a way by trying to link the dots with certain individuals, or how are you then finding the interaction with people? I know you mentioned with regards to likes and comments potentially before and afters, but how are you finding everyone trying to get as much exposure as possible?
I think there's two parts of that. First of all, as organising the webinars, we're finding that we're able to reach out now to more and more senior stakeholders that we probably wouldn't be able to do. You know, we ran breakfast meetings on mental health and on diversity and inclusion and all these great things, but actually now it's a lot easier and a lot more agile to get these things up and running. It's quite quick to jump on a quick call, talk about what you want to do. A week later, you're in that call. And I think, you know, what you can try and do, you know, and what we try and do is encourage that engagement, you know, before and after. You know, we'll ask people for feedback. And if there's people that give us good feedback, we'll connect them with the people we know. You know, I might be organising these webinars with BITAx, but there's 8 board members that help put this together. So between us, you know, we'll know half the people of the 50 or 100 people that log on for one of our webinars. And if there are good connections and we can see people are there, I suppose it's us as the host that are actually sort of helping join the dot. But that's no different to if it was face-to-face. We'd be doing the same thing. We'd be saying, oh, Tom, I know, Tom, I've been to face-to-face events with you. You're introduced to someone. Have you met Charlie? Yeah. This is what he does. It'll be good to you for Connect. It's a little bit less natural, and of course you've got to go out of the way, but it's happening, and it's something that we're trying to, you know, we're actively going to try and do.
Yeah, interesting. That is interesting. Just on the back of it, I know, Mark, you've got the next question, but on the back of it, there is actually one webinar that I've been doing, which has been quite interesting before an event, and they've actually asked specifically 3 questions. So what are you like? Not similar round of what you're trying to get out of it, but what's your current status of your business and everything. So that was quite interesting, because then they are able to look at the speakers and the people that are attending and actually then go, right, boom, afterwards, that person wants to speak to that person, and try and connect the dots like that. So like you said, it has been very difficult. We do want that human interaction, and sometimes you can think you're going out of your way to potentially do an email introduction or what have you. But yeah, but good to know that obviously it's been successful for you guys so far.
Yeah, and that leads us right into what I was going to ask, because obviously what we're trying to do with season 2 is talk about the future of work, the future of networking, the future of everything. So you obviously being a serial networker, where do you see the future in networking? Because like from a future of work side of things, everyone was talking about remote working. That is now. You know, maybe didn't plan it to be now, but it's happened. So how do you see the future of networking going, or changing, evolving?
I think that, you know, inevitably we are going to get to a stage, clearly, you know, where you know, there are events again, there are forums, there are, you know, groups where like-minded people, but I think, you know, hopefully, you know, I think it's a lot more acceptable now for people to make those digital connections, you know, to have that comment, to get over that sort of threshold of actually engaging with someone that you can just see as a like-minded individual, or in a sector or a senior figurehead in a company that you want to connect with. I think, you know, that is going to be coming out of this is going to be so much more approachable than it was a year ago. But I also think, you know, how many times has everyone been to an event and you meet a load of good people and you think, you know, that was great, and then before you know it, you look back 6 months ago and you've not met them again, you've not taken the time to go for that coffee and that sort of stuff. I think this is great for, you know, if there's that professional connection there and there's an interest, you know, and whether it's a, you know, potential direct business opportunity or something else, I think it is a lot easier now to keep that momentum going, to have the Zoom, to have the call, you know, not having to say, well, I'll do it next time I'm in London, I'll do it next time I'm in town, I'll do it next time I'm at this event in 3 months' time. And then they don't make it. And then you think, you know, I really would have liked to progress that a little bit further, that conversation that I was getting to. So I think inevitably we're in a lot better situation to make the connections. We're in a lot better situation to keep those connections. And I think it's pretty, you know, it's pretty exciting, you know, to be able to, you know, ultimately get to sort of that bridge of the two.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think like you said, ultimately events and face-to-face webinars and seminars and stuff are clearly going to come back. And, you know, and it is good to get that connection, but that's very interesting with regards to actually thinking, I'm sure he'll be at another event and I'll contact, you know, he or she, them again and take that up. Very interesting.
Yeah, and I think you're right as well. Like, video is just changed, isn't it? I don't think I did a video call on purpose, pretty much, for the last like 5 years, and then since all these changes, it's weird not to be on video talking to someone, wherever you are.
Yeah, it's absolutely changed, and I actually think a lot of these virtual coffees and stuff that I've been having with people that I've seen real great progress with over this period have been those exact type of people, the people that you've met, the first people I reached out to, the people I've met, and we never got round to connecting. We met 6 months ago, we had that chat about this or that, and actually, that's what started to think, well, there's other people I want to reach out to. So it's a good, I think it's a good time to keep that, to keep that momentum going. And I don't know how long it will be until we're, I don't think you're ever going to replace, going to that industry conference, going to that, very relevant event, and you're sitting next to somebody that is a great connection for you. That's never going to go away. But to compound that with the, I suppose the digital effects that we can have to keep that going, it's exciting 2021.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Pete, Mark and me decided we're going to continue with the fun questions in series 2 as well. So it gives you a little less pressure with this, and we've kept similar questions as well for you. So if you had watched series 1, which I'm very sure that you have been an avid watcher of us, then you'll know what to answer on here. So first question is going to be from me this season, and it is going to be, what profession other than your own that you're currently doing would you like to have attempted?
I had to think about this, and I think I'd like to work in a kitchen. I used to work in, not for my necessarily.
I could see you.
Amazing
dishwasher.
Not for my amazing passion for food, but when I was a lot younger, I used to spend a bit of time, and there's something quite it's a real good sensation of being really rushing stuff together and going for a real intense period of activity, and then it's over and it's done, and it's I quite liked that, and I feel that I'd like I'd enjoy that if I was doing something else, working in a top place, rushing to get stuff out, and then I suppose on a daily basis, I guess the sense of achievement of what you've managed to get out and what you managed to do.
Would you be the top dog, or would you be the yes chef?
I mean, you've got to start at the bottom, right? But I wouldn't want to be there too long.
So wash your upper first.
Something like that. I did spend a bit of time in a kitchen. Actually, it doesn't take that long for you to start to get used to burning hot plates and having to wash up. Like, those machines are really, really hot. So I think you lose a lot of weight as well, just on your feet all day and just sweating out.
Good, Chef Peter. Good.
I could see it. I like it. I think you could do the look. Just, you got a white shirt on. You could just get some black. Cool. So the question I was going to ask you next is one that we did a lot in season 2. We had a lot of varied answers for. So I think we're going to keep the poll going. So, who is your favourite global guy?
Well, Tom, you and I have known each other for a number of years. We've been to many events together.
Don't do it.
I know you very well, and because I know you very well, I'm going to have to go with Mark.
Yes.
This is brilliant. Someone is stitching me up here massively. And
that puts me on top of the leaderboard with one more vote than any other global person.
Yes, that does put you on top of the leaderboard. I think I might cut it out on series 3, or just if we have a series 3. Good man. And one question we did have as well, we had a very similar response for one of these people, and it's 3 real influential people that have been a part of your career and your growth as a person.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one for me. I mean, before I moved to where I am now, I spent 11 years working with the same 3 founders of the company, and I think they all gave very different influences me professionally. I started working in the global financial crisis, for an investment firm, and I think, you know, having worked for 11 sort of, you know, founders of that business that launched multiple businesses and work with under different capacity, it's hard for me to carve out anyone outside those three individuals that I would say probably has got me to where I am today.
Good. Do you want to name them?
Yes, Adam Haltan and Rob from Central FX. So they're good guys. I learned a lot for them, and I'm sure we'll continue to you know, we stayed in contact, and I'm sure we'll continue to keep learning.
Good. Very interesting. Great answer for the first one. Well, Peter, thanks very much for joining us today. From this, I'm going to keep this line, but from one half of the Global guys, we really appreciate you kicking off series or season, however we're going to pronounce it, 2. For those of you that are listening, watching across all the platforms that we are available, Peter's details will be included, so you can connect on him on LinkedIn, send him a message and interact and network and go to his events. You'll also find further details from with regards to ourselves, myself and my role at Safeguard Global, and also Mark's role at Safeguard Global as well. So, as I said, before I hand over to Mark to sign out, from one half of the Global, thanks again for joining us, and thank you everybody else for listening.
If anyone's watching this, you're going to find the last couple of seconds very amusing because Tom's webcam has frozen in a. But I think we just about managed to get what he said.